Good morning, friends. This week we are going to learn a new suffix. The suffix that we are going to be learning is ly. That means we're adding two letters to a base word to make it into another word. Now, what you'll need to know about this word is that whenever you add the suffix ly, most oftentimes you're answering the word how. For example, this little boy looks very sad, right? But if we wanted to describe how he was when he had to watch his mom leave to work in the car, you could say that he was looking at her sadly. So, how did he look at mom? He looked at her sadly. For my next example, you can tell that these two girls are friends, right? But you could also say that when they're with each other, they act very friendly toward each other. So, how do they act toward each other? Friendly. Most times than not, when we add the suffix ly to a word, it ends up making it into an adverb because it describes how the verb was. So I was sad, but she was he watched the car sadly leave. So how did he watch the car leave? Sadly. We're responding to the verb there. So this little emoji here looks very angry, but we could say that he angrily stormed off because he didn't get what he wanted. How did he storm off? He stormed off angrily. You can probably tell that this word looks a little bit differently. I had to drop the Y, I added an I, and I also added the suffix ly, but I'm going to talk about that on the next slide. In this picture on the top right, we see that he has quick feet, right? But if I wanted to describe how he was walking, I could say he was walking quickly down the street so he wouldn't miss his bus. How did he walk down the street? He walked quickly. Now, I couldn't think of a picture to put for the word awkward, but we could say that when I walk into the wrong room when I'm at a university, that is awkward, right? But if I could use the suffix ly to that word, I could say I awkwardly shuffled back out of the room because I had walked into the wrong one. So right there, I just added the suffix ly. How did I shuffle outside of the room? I awkwardly did that. So it answers the word how. How did I do that? And in this last picture, I could say that he is very bold, right? He's not afraid to do what he plans on. He sets his goals. He's a very bold person. But if I wanted to change that word to boldly, this is what it would mean. I boldly stormed into the room with my papers in my hand. Boldly. How did I storm in the room? I boldly stormed into the room. Now, you could add the suffix ly to a lot of words that you probably aren't even think of. For example, confidently, beautifully. When you ask how did I do something, so you kind of want to look at other words as well. On our second Jamboard, we have some tricky words when we have the suffix ly sometimes. So let's say I wanted to use the word clumsy, but I wanted to describe how I tripped over, I don't know, the rock on the floor. I could say I clumsily tripped over the rock on the floor. The rule is that I drop the Y. I drop the Y. I don't know how to take this off. I drop the Y. I add an I, and I also add the suffix ly. Clums. So I drop the Y, add my I, add ly. I click save. For the second one, let's do this one together. If I could say she angrily stormed out of the room and into the car, how would I change the spelling of this word? Even though we aren't really looking at spelling, this is a good tip to know. Good rule. Angrily. So I have my word angry. I drop my Y, add I, and add my suffix ly. Let's see if you can do this last one on your own. Happy. She was happy when she left school. Or if I wanted to change it and add the suffix ly, how did I walk out of the school? I happily pranced outside into my mom's car after school. How would I use that word? Let's see if you can do it. You drop the Y. Good. You add an I, and you add ly. So that's just a good tip for you to know. So boys and girls, when you are brainstorming your words with the suffix ly, I want to see words that are real. Sometimes I notice that we're coming up with nonsense words that shouldn't be there. So really think about it and ask yourself, does it answer the question how when I use my word? Awesome job.